Tonight, the city of Lloydminster avoids a potential phishing scam. Plus,
it certainly helps us with strategic planning and the planning for the folks in the administration to move things forward.
A campaign is underway to gauge social needs in the community and
whether it's help with court, help with parenting, help accessing resources in the community.
The Lloydminster Interval Home outlines its many programs to help those dealing with family violence.
This is Newcap News with Nicole Stilger.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Avoiding a phishing scam, restructuring the fire department and drafting an ethics policy were all topics of discussion today as City Council met as a committee. Brian Lentz with more from City Hall.
Council learned today that the city was recently the target of a phishing scam very similar to what MacEwan University recently fell victim to that tried to steal tens of thousands of dollars from city coffers.
And it was an attempt to defraud the city of approximately $47,000. Our security protocols and our policies clearly identified it as a red flagged.
As well, a large portion of the committee meeting was a presentation from Fire Chief Jordan Newton, and he proposed a restructuring of the fire department that would not only reduce response times, but also boost recruitment efforts and allow greater flexibility for its personnel between their home life and their hours spent at the hall.
It will provide flexibility to volunteers and allow them to volunteer when it's acceptable for them and get training when it's convenient for them and their lives.
City Council also saw two draft policies that would clarify ethics and professional development for council members. Now we'll have more information on these stories later on this week on Newcap News. Reporting from City Hall, I'm Brian Lentz.
And the City of Lloydminster has launched a major social needs campaign in order to get feedback from residents on areas of need moving forward. Lloyd Needs begins with a comprehensive survey to compile the information from the public. The results will inform stakeholder interviews and focus groups and provide data to set priorities for developing policies and programming, as well as guide grant funding.
As council, we have a responsibility to balance the needs and the wants of the community, but it certainly helps us with strategic planning and the planning for the folks in the administration to move things forward.
The survey has a variety of questions dealing with areas of need such as homelessness, mental health and transportation, as well as room for additional input.
If residents have things that they don't see in the survey, they can add in to identify their situation and their story.
The survey is available at lloydneeds.ca. Well, when people think of the Interval Home, many might think it's just a store and shelter providing refuge to women and children escaping abuse. But as Michaela Henschel tells us in this month's In Your Community, the organization has many in-between programs to help people understand and learn how to deal with family violence.
We know that family violence affects many different people, and although maybe we might not be personally impacted in our own personal relationship, we likely know somebody that is.
family violence is a complex issue that requires support and resources over a lifetime. The Interval Home takes a holistic approach to helping people in a time of crisis, but they also help with prevention and post-vention tactics for women who don't need the shelter but require guidance.
Whether it's help with court, help with parenting, help accessing resources in the community, we actually go to them and provide them the support wherever they are.
The Interval Home also offers a self-empowerment for women class. The 16-week program focuses on the importance of equality, safety, and respect, while teaching women how to strengthen their relationships.
That's for women who are maybe experiencing abuse and violence in their relationships, or maybe they're just wanting to build stronger relationships with self and healthy boundaries.
A crucial step in ending family violence is working with the men who utilize violence and abuse in their relationships. The New Perspective 16-week class helps men understand abuse isn't the answer.
We work with them to build better coping mechanisms and help them understand the impact of, power and control tactics in their relationships and on their children as well.
A major key is normalizing the conversation about family violence so that people can reach out for help. The Interval Home connects with businesses and school-aged youth and educates them on how to look for signs of abuse and how to deal with it, whether it directly impacts them or somebody they know.
As many people as we can talk to about family violence, its effects, how to combat it, what to do if somebody actually discloses to you, if they're being impacted by violence, how to handle that.
All of the programs the Interval Home offer are free of charge. When you support the For the Interval store, you support the community. The store not only provides necessities that are distributed to women and children, but it helps fund their programs.
Whether you're donating or shopping, it certainly helps all of our programs and services.
Michaela Henschel, Newcap News.
Still to come, the town of Unity comes together to draw awareness to mental health. That story after the break. September is dedicated to bringing awareness to suicide prevention, and on Saturday, residents of Unity walked together to show their support for mental health while remembering one of their own. Darcy Robson with more.
If you met him, you'd never forget him. He was amazing.
He was a goofster. He liked the bright colors, spontaneous, he'd go anywhere all the time.
Cole Bosch loved life and was loved by all who knew him. He tragically took his own life last June.
We didn't understand he was going through, we knew he was, troubled, but we didn't understand how deep it was. And we just kind of want to bring awareness to everybody that, they're not alone, they can talk.
On Saturday, the last day of Suicide Prevention Week, people walked together to show their support for those battling with mental illness.
We want people to start talking about it. It is so widespread. And it's affecting everybody, every levels of life.
Events like the Memorial Walk for Cole are essential in showing support for creating a dialogue to show those battling with depression and mental illness that they don't have to suffer in silence.
I think it's still so very important that there's education and awareness about suicide because, all mental health, there's a lot of mental health illness out there and sometimes it's really largely disguised.
Darcy Robson, Newcap News.
Well, it's a fundraiser that started in Canada decades ago and has since spread across the world. Sunday, Lloydminster residents gathered in Bud Miller Park for the annual Terry Fox Run. Brian Lentz has more.
Around 50 residents participated in the run, donating what they could to cancer research. One runner alone raised more than $5,000 for the fundraiser that's close to his heart.
I lost my mother 27 years ago, and I've noticed different family members in my family and other families where you see a lot of people suffer from it. So I think the research they're doing is awesome.
Name a person who hasn't had cancer touch a member of their families.
Jim McArdle has been volunteering for 4 years and says the Lloydminster Community Run has raised more than $140,000 since it began in 1984.
We don't actually set a goal on that. We take whatever we can to help out and do towards the cancer research.
He adds all the money raised goes directly to the Terry Fox Foundation.
It's going towards the things that are really going to count. And that people are living longer, people are surviving, and that's all we can hope for.
To date, the Terry Fox Foundation has raised more than $700 million worldwide.
Well, the last 20 years have seen major and ever-increasing changes in technology affecting how we collect and share information. In this week's edition of Retrospect, Brian Lentz shows us how one Vermilion school continues to ensure its students are on the cutting edge.
Students in Vermilion are hitting the information highway. Last February, J.R. Robson High School was given the opportunity to pilot a unique new project.
We were approached by IBM and CITL in conjunction to do an internet project whereby we use the internet solution from both corporations together to come up with a solution that would provide our students with internet access. And now we're just about to implement it into our programs and include it in with our curriculums for this year.
The internet solution places a world of information at their fingertips.
20 years later, the information highway continues to change how students learn at J.R. Robson School. Now, assignments are available wirelessly on any device.
The students are able to work on assignments and they might not even be in the same town together. And they're able to get on the internet through cloud-based computing and be able to communicate, collaborate back and forth.
The school has also downsized their physical library as they transition to a digital database.
Sure, magazines, we're seeing the digital form, and students just seem to find that more convenient to access because, again, they can download it and read it when they want to, not just during library hour time.
But as technologies change and are incorporated into classrooms, one thing remains the same.
It's not just about learning, it's about becoming a better person using the technology and using it properly and effectively as well, and we work with them on that.
For soccer fans hoping to catch a glimpse of Lakeland's men's and women's squads, Sunday provided the only opportunity at VLA Fields here in Lloydminster. It's been a tough start to the season for both teams, but as Lance Phillips reports, optimism is on the rise.
One day after both men's and women's Rustlers soccer squads were blanked 6-0 by Sept, Olds College pulled into town. For the women, a familiar scene of no goals for reared its ugly head. Despite the lack of offensive production and a 2-0 loss to the Broncos, the girls are working through the growing pains.
Just being a very new team, we have to learn off of each other and learn where people their tendencies, where they go, how they play, things like that. So coming all together as one, it's probably the learning year for sure.
It's tough because we've had a huge amount of growth in 3 weeks, but they don't see it. So I'm focusing really hard on them and pointing out the positives.
We keep progressing every game. If you look at our first game compared to now, there's so many differences. People are starting to learn where to go, when to get out, get in, everything.
Starting the season 0-4 isn't good for any team's confidence, but the women are close to breaking through.
A win would definitely help, but even just a tie, anything to just get everybody back into it, that we can win. We're not going to be the bottom team forever, that we will proceed forward.
The men's side returned to expected form Sunday, scoring 3 to Olds 0, and the outburst in offense and solid defense can be attributed to changes made on the field.
We had scored no goals in open play in 3 games. So what we were doing is not working. So we changed, we had 9 different positions played in the start of this game, and result was promising.
I think the guys we had were very important players, and I think we executed well as a team, so we accepted the challenge, and it was quite easy for us.
We had a lot of problems in our midfield, and now that our lineup has changed, I feel like we can go a lot better in our season.
At 4th place in the ACAC South, the Rustlers are on the precipice of contending for playoffs.
There's hope and there's promise. We've got not enough experience, so I have to keep pushing the right buttons and really pushing them, and no excuses, be demanding and stay with process.
Yeah, I think we're very close. We need to continue to work on the training field, and over the next couple of weeks we'll see some results.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.